having been perpetually tortured his entire life by bad luck. This is the story of a tragic guy who doesn't get the happy life he wished for. He has been through all the suffering life has to offer, only for it to end with a painful construction accident. Turns out, all of the good luck in his current life was reversed into misfortune by mistake. Now, to compensate for his bad luck, he is given the golden opportunity of a fresh start with the loving family he's dreamt of. However, he soon realizes that this isn't the rosy paradise he was promised when he was given the blessing of luck by the keepers of life and death. Faced with death and drama in the family before he even turns a year old, with possession of the title the Lucky One, also come great challenges that test Sieg's luck, allowing him to alter his fate and get closer to his dream day by day. A pale, sickly hand is seen reaching out on the floor, drenched by the rain, as a man waits for the ambulance to arrive. He reflects on his depressing life, realizing that his luck has always been terrible, and wishing for a second chance at life, one that is slow and simple. Tears fill his eyes as he finds himself lying in a comfortable bed, where the news of a healthy baby's birth is heard. This newly reborn baby, Siegbert, is lying in bed crying next to his mother, Leah. Suddenly, the protagonist appears in a blank space, crouched on all fours. An elegant man in a suit appears, who introduces himself as the keeper of life and death, and welcomes him as the new guest. The man explains that they are now in the space between the worlds of the living and the dead, mentioning the hero's tragic life, which ends with him being excruciatingly and painfully crushed under a construction beam. But now the unlucky man is set to be reborn with benefits, as he is one of a kind. Not the kind of special you would wish for though. The unlucky man reads the contract, while the keeper explains the benefits, including the retention of past memories, language acquisition, and various special blessings, prompting the guest to ask the man to relax with his sales pitch. The suited man then leans in to reveal the final benefit, which is the appraisal eyes, and concludes his lengthy explanation by detailing how this particular blessing works, mentioning that the guest will receive a special version. With charismatic flair, he proceeds to introduce the reincarnation world lottery machine. Despite feeling skeptical about the keeper's insistence on using the lottery machine, the protagonist eventually yields and gives it a spin. A golden ball rolls out, leaving him confused that he somehow won despite his lifelong horrible luck. The keeper is intrigued, noting that the protagonist's luck blessing has granted him a unique world to be reborn into, causing the guest to feel anxious about what he has just obtained. With a snap of his fingers and a suspicious smirk, the man summons a portal beneath the protagonist's feet. He bows cheerfully as his reincarnated guest plunges into the void, creating the final memory of his previous life. Now, the protagonist is cradled in his new mother's arms as she dotes on him in her bed. His eyes locked on his mother, he hears the maid inform his father, Gilbert, to be gentle with the little one since his neck is quite delicate. The baby frowns at his unfamiliar surroundings and the realization that he now has the limited abilities of an infant. He looks at his father, who pats him on the head and recalls how the keeper mentioned magic in this world. Remembering his appraisal eyes blessing, he decides to use them, intently staring at his now confused mother while cooing. Panic sets in as he realizes he wasn't told a chant to activate the power, causing his father to feel sorry, thinking he is patting him too roughly. Finally, Sieg finds himself activating his appraisal eyes, causing menus to surround him, which makes a cheerful smile spread across his face as he gazes at the shiny windows. The menus disclose all his stats, revealing that he is Siegbert von Ahbel, the son of the 4th Marquis. His major skills include appraisal eyes and language mastery, while he possesses numerous minor skills that offer resistance to various debuffs and poisons, with the notable exception of the advanced growth skill. He peers at his advanced magic attributes present from birth, but what catches his eye is his 200 luck stat, which he assumes is low, just like in his past life. Sieg cries out at the sight of all the other stats, being even lower than his apparent garbage luck stat, making him presume he lacks any real aptitude. Then, the mother and child's attention is drawn to someone at the door, screaming the newborn's name. A pair of cheerful siblings, the rambunctious Marie and the shy Theobald, enter the room, prompting the maid, Anna, to silence them for disturbing their mother and Sieg's rest. The excited children apologize and express their wish to see Sieg, leading the mother to warmly invite them to meet the new baby in the household. The siblings stare at the cute baby in admiration, complimenting Sieg's glistening silver hair and purple eyes inherited from his mother. Sieg panics at how everyone looks scary from his perspective. When Theobald attempts to touch him, the cute baby grasps his brother's thumb, causing him to blush in glee. As the two siblings go crazy over the baby's cuteness, Anna scolds them for being too loud. The brother-sister duo discuss how they can't wait to play with Sieg. Marie declares her plan to dress him up in cute clothes, but Theobald comes to Sieg's rescue, telling Marie that he might not like it, as he frowns at the thought. Marie pets her baby brother in apology, and promises to make good memories with him when he gets older, confessing her love for him, which makes the protagonist's puffy cheeks blush, while the parents appreciate how well the children are getting along. Meanwhile, Sieg cannot believe he has been granted such a wholesome family, despite his bad luck, feeling grateful for being born into a warm and loving environment. The parents' expressions suddenly turn serious as they discuss how their uncle Wilbald will perform Sieg's initial appraisal the next day, just as he did for his elder brother Jelt. Everyone's face turns sour as they recall how Jelt's appraisal brought chaos. It is known that a noble must train in the elemental aptitude they are born with, as revealed by the initial appraisal. Those who lack aptitude go into martial arts, while talented children must join the Magic Academy. Gilbert promises to protect Sieg from being forcibly inducted into the Magic Academy like his brother Jelt, whose talents were disclosed. Sieg panics about his aptitude in advanced magic, fearing his bad luck might bring misfortune to his new family. He unsuccessfully tries to delete his advanced magic attributes, dreading how such a plethora of attributes might make him an experimental specimen. As he panics in his crib, with Anna dozing off, a Cyclops-like shadow with a giant eye appears and calls him master. Sieg holds in his scream full of terror at the shadow, which introduces itself as Helper. It explains how appraisal works, and details that Sieg's unique appraisal eyes allow him to see more details than an ordinary appraisal. Helper advises Sieg to learn concealment magic through the special shop, noting that he has 1,000 points, since he cannot master it naturally overnight. Helper warns Sieg that while spending 1,000 points to gain master-level concealment will protect him from even special appraisal eyes, he will have to learn all his other skills through raw effort and training in the future. Thinking of his family, Sieg, lying in his crib at night, does not hesitate. To maintain his loving family, he expends all his special points. The next day, Wilbald is welcomed home by all the maids, who fawn over his looks. Wilbald enters Leah's bedroom and jokingly flirts with her, much to Gilbert's annoyance. With an innocent smile, Wilbald greets his newborn nephew. Holding the terrified baby in his arms, he declares Sieg the most handsome child, yet for having the rare hair and eye color of his mother. Plastic surgery. Who needs it when you have the hot Wilbald genes? He then appraises Sieg and makes an interested face, which terrifies Sieg even more. When Gilbert asks about Sieg's aptitude, Wilbald mentions that despite being a multi-talented boy, he has no aptitude for advanced magic attributes. This allows both father and son to breathe a sigh of relief, as Sieg recalls having concealed all, except 5 attributes the previous night. Leah rejoices when Wilbald mentions that Sieg inherited all his mother's resistance skills. Then, Wilbald appraises Sieg's body and magic, observing the enormous wings radiating from the baby in his hands. Gilbert, noticing his brother's surprise, asks for the reason. Wilbald promptly responds that Sieg might be the lucky one. Gilbert's face goes pale upon hearing the title. Sieg then realizes that appraisal also allows one to visualize luck as wings, while looking at his own massive feathers. Wilbald talks to his brother about how the Ministry of Magic would not allow someone far exceeding prodigies to roam freely. Sieg panics upon hearing the news that shatters his dream of living a happy life with his loving new family. Now that Wilbald has broken the news, Sieg realizes that his bad luck from his previous life has been compensated with immense luck in this one. His uncle explains that it is said the lucky one, born with immense power from the start, is granted a chance to become as powerful as a deity. He worries that the Ministry of Magic might use Sieg as an experimental subject. Hearing this, Leah interrupts with a smile, glad to be the mother of such a gifted child. She places her hand on Gilbert's, requesting him to protect Sieg wholeheartedly. Gilbert places his wife's hand on his chest and swears she need not worry, assuring her that their child will be in his care. Smiling at the heartwarming scene, Wilbald suggests, in response to Gilbert's concern about the announcement, that they need not announce the appraisal results, since it's merely a tradition that serves to brag about one's heir's attributes. Adding to this, he notes that it's not as if others can notice the boy's immense magic power and luck at a glance. Wilbald assures his brother that his influence can help him avoid suspicion, explaining how the ministry will at most treat Sieg like Wilbald, when he was born with multiple attributes, and suggests consulting their father on how to deal with the ministry. Sieg looks in awe at his extremely reliable uncle, In concluding the discussion, Leah ensures they promise to keep the matter a secret among themselves. Willibald, however, smirkingly points out that 5 people are actually in on the secret. He then calls out the 2 little spies, Marie and Theobald, who have been eavesdropping on the conversation, much to Gilbert's surprise. Willibald playfully interrogates the siblings, who each attempt to take all the blame. The elder brother and sister express their concern for Sieg, requesting their father to keep Sieg's talent hidden. Leah reassures them that there is no need to worry, as their father will take good care of Sieg. Hearing this, Sieg is moved to tears of joy by his affectionate family. Willibald then disrupts the heartwarming moment by scaring the siblings with a threatening face, making them swear never to reveal the appraisal, even scaring the baby in his arms. Ultimately, only baby Sieg's elements are announced, and the Ministry of Magic takes no action. A few months later, during his studies, Sieg is informed by Helper that his previous life's bad luck was actually an error. The Keepers of Life and Death mistakenly overwrote his good luck with negative 444 luck, and are now compensating for that by giving him large amounts of luck and blessings. Sieg's gratitude for the blessings vanishes when Helper reveals that these are due to the Keeper's mistakes in his past life. Helper teases Sieg by pausing for effect, but eventually discloses that Sieg was meant to be lucky in his past life. Sieg notices that his Cyclops-looking sidekick has a sly personality. The scene shifts to Sieg, surrounded by books, as he lies against a cushion, leaving the maids confused at the baby that enjoys reading books. His good manners grant him some time away from their supervision, as he practices his linguistic and magic skills. Considering how our protagonist has always been a bookworm, he is delighted at the opportunity to learn magic, while enjoying book reading. Sieg is mastering magic at home. While we're forced to do the math for years, reality truly is cruel. Sieg starts to grasp the magic system of this world, and explains that possessing all the attributes enables him to not only cast a wide range of spells, but these are then amplified by his extraordinarily high magic power. The essence of magic in this world lies in visualization, allowing each individual's magic to materialize exactly as they envision it. To practice, he chooses to cast luminance, visualizing a charming scene from his past life filled with fireflies. Suddenly, bright lights begin to fill the room as Sieg revels in the beauty of the scene, and becomes thrilled about using his past experiences to create unprecedented forms of magic. He then decides to conjure a theater spotlight, casting a spell so intense that powerful rays burst through all the windows, briefly blinding himself in the process. Realizing the need to conceal his light attribute, Sieg is taken aback when Gilbert suddenly enters the room. Gilbert, shocked to see Sieg standing, quickly scoops him up and rushes to Leah's room, where she is lost in thoughts about Jelt. Leah's reflections are interrupted by Gilbert's frantic calls of her name. Gilbert bursts into the room, excitedly announcing the impressive news that Siegbert is standing at such a young age. Anna advises Gilbert to maintain his composure, while Leah, amused, enjoys witnessing Sieg's small but remarkable achievement. The baby, now sweating profusely, stands hesitantly next to the bedside table, unsure of his next move. Proud and eager to showcase the moment, Gilbert encourages Sieg to walk toward his mother. Overwhelmed by the moment, Sieg's heart melts under his mother's warm gaze. Summoning his inner strength, he takes slow, determined steps toward her bed, panting with the effort. As he struggles with the difficulty of walking on his tiny paws while grasping the bed, Gilbert suddenly picks him up, patting him a bit too roughly and nearly causing him to jolt. Their butler, Hans, calls out to Gilbert, who, feeling the weight of the butler's stern gaze, is reminded of his overdue responsibilities. After giving a brief token of gratitude to Leah, Gilbert takes his leave. Leah then asks their maid, Anna, to bring some books for Sieg. The baby hero sits on the bed, recognizing how exhausting magic use can be, and takes a moment to rest while spending precious time with his mother. Leah, patting Sieg's head, speaks with a serious expression, conveying her joy at seeing her blessed child walking toward her. She shares her wish for him to live a life free from the chaos and politics of nobility, hoping he will become the strongest and kindest person. With tears in her eyes, she asks him to always find happiness. Embracing her tiny son tightly, she wishes for him to always remember her before collapsing onto her bed. Anna, screaming in panic, rushes to Leah's side, while Sieg remains frozen in shock, unable to comprehend what has just occurred. The scene transitions to a dark library at night, where Jelt is engrossed in his studies. A hooded woman approaches him with urgent news, but he dismisses her. When she reveals that his mother has passed away, Jelt's eyes widen in horror as he repeats the shocking words in disbelief. Sometime later, everyone gathers for Leah's funeral, with Gelt casting a menacing glare at Sieg as the baby mourns his mother's death in Gilbert's arms. Gilbert, accompanied by Albert, his eldest son from the Night Order, and Wilbald, is urged by both to rest after many sleepless days. Despite their concern, Gilbert remains steadfast in staying until the very end of Leah's funeral, driven by his profound love for her. In another room, Albert tends to his two siblings, while Anna holds Sieg, who has just discovered that his mother suffered from an incurable disease. Overwhelmed with grief, Sieg laments not having noticed her suffering, despite being so close. He regrets his inability to diagnose and cure her illness with his special appraisal and magic, which he obtained through his special points. Tears stream down Sieg's face as Theobald departs to meet Gelt, who holds the deepest affection for Leah. As Theobald opens the door, he finds Gelt rushing toward him, his face etched with visible bloodlust. Instinctively, he reaches out to stop his enraged brother from attacking the baby in Anna's arms with a thunder spear spell. Reacting swiftly, Sieg casts a light wall spell, just in time to shield Anna from a potentially fatal blow. Marie screams in horror at the near tragedy, while Albert swiftly pins Gelt down. Marie and Theobald rush to tend to Anna and Sieg, casting healing magic. Albert demands to know why Gelt attacked their youngest brother. Gelt blames Sieg for their mother's death, but Albert refutes this, believing Sieg brought them good memories until the end. Maybe someone should tell Gelt that babies don't cause incurable diseases. With Albert struggling to contain his enraged brother, Wilbald joins in accompanied by Gilbert, and casts a spell to restrain the uncontrollable Gelt in shackles of ice. Wilbald then tends to Anna's injuries and sets Sieg aside, commending Theobald and Marie for their quick action in helping Anna. He instructs Gilbert to talk to Gelt while he looks after Anna and the three children. Gelt, now restrained in shackles, throws a tantrum, glaring intensely at his uncle and his three siblings, who cast disdainful looks in his direction. When Marie tries to persuade him of Sieg's innocence, he furiously rejects her, accusing her of being misled. Marie pleads with Gelt not to turn against his own family, but he vows to kill Sieg with a menacing glare. Marie, deeply troubled by Gelt's resolve, begs her father to ensure that Gelt is never allowed near Sieg again. She makes a solemn promise that she will never forgive Gelt if he ever attempts to harm Sieg once more. Wilbald then suggests to Gilbert that they need to investigate the reasons behind Gelt's actions, while Gelt, consumed by jealousy towards Sieg, believes that Sieg has usurped his place as their mother's most cherished. Gelt swears he will never forgive him. Sometime later in his bedroom, as Sieg regains consciousness, he sees his elder brother and sister rushing to his side, while he struggles to recall the events leading up to this moment. Marie embraces her brother, relieved and thankful for his safety. Wilbald inquires if Sieg is alright, to which Sieg responds with a baby noise of affirmation. How is nobody suspicious of this baby's outrageous intelligence? Sieg remains haunted by the deathly glare Gelt cast at him during the funeral, an image burned into his memory. After Marie vows to protect Sieg at all costs, Wilbald reassures the siblings by promising that he is using his surveillance magic to keep Sieg safe. He urges the exhausted Marie to rest, acknowledging the toll that healing magic has taken on her. Theobald shares his disappointment over Gelt blaming Sieg for their mother's death, despite his firm belief that the accusation is unfounded. Wilbald consoles him and suggests that both siblings should rest alongside Sieg, recognizing their fatigue. As the two resting siblings sandwich Sieg, Wilbald ponders the reasons behind Gelt's actions. When Gilbert comes by and asks about Gelt's condition, Wilbald explains Gelt's stubborn refusal to understand, driven by a deep grudge. They agree to leave Gelt in their father's care for Sieg's safety. Wilbald shares his theory that while Gelt wasn't brainwashed according to his appraisal, a more sinister influence might be at play. Gilbert reluctantly voices his concern that Gelt's feelings may indeed be genuine, but Wilbald interrupts, asserting that a child cannot harbor such intense hatred, and places the blame on the Magic Academy for its potential involvement. Determined to uncover the truth, Wilbald steals his resolve, as Gilbert nearly collapses from exhaustion after many sleepless nights. Vowing to find the culprit for Leah's sake, Gilbert apologizes to his late wife with a heavy heart. Later, standing alone on a balcony, Wilbald solemnly swears to bring justice to those who manipulated Gelt's mind and inflicted pain upon his family. Looks like we won't be seeing nice Uncle Wilbald anymore. At the same time, for the sake of his remaining family, Sieg vows to use his blessings and train himself down to the bone, be it in magic or martial arts, because that is something only he can do. As the scene shifts to the main lobby of the castle, it becomes evident that 4 years have elapsed. Sieg moves towards his brother Theobald, who who is preparing to leave the castle and expresses a desire to accompany him on his monster hunting mission. Theobald, feeling a mix of surprise and curiosity, ponders how his younger brother could have discovered his destination. Sieg, displaying an air of confidence, reveals his awareness of Theobald's secret collaboration with the Adventurers Guild, and mentions that he knows about the plan to meet someone named Nikolai to vanquish some monsters. Theobald responds with hesitation and outright refusal, believing Sieg is too young and inexperienced to handle a fight. Sieg then attempts to persuade his brother by conjuring some fire magic. To Theobald's astonishment, Sieg demonstrates his ability to cast even more powerful spells. Sieg proceeds to explain his situation, mentioning that despite his unusually high magic power, he struggles with using advanced level magic. In his efforts to understand this limitation, he discovered that increasing his magic capacity requires raising his level and defeating monsters. Consequently, he expresses his desire to join the monster hunt to enhance his abilities. Theobald acknowledges Sieg's reasoning as valid, but questions the urgency, pointing out that being able to use magic at such a young age is already a significant achievement. Sieg reflects on their deceased mother and explains that, as he is now, he cannot protect anyone dear to him, and tragedies can occur at any moment. Therefore, he wants to quickly become stronger. Theobald, seemingly convinced, employs his wind magic, Whispering Wind, to instruct butler hands to prepare a carriage for their journey to the White Forests. Sieg feels a surge of happiness and expresses gratitude to his brother. Theobald, showing signs of frustration, warns Sieg that he will not accept such proposals again, and advises him to stay close and not get separated. As they depart in the carriage, Theobald informs Sieg that he will be allowed to hunt a particular white rabbit in the upcoming event known as the White Hunt, where a noble child experiences hunting a monster for the first time. Sieg mentions that this journey will serve as a rehearsal for him, and adds that he is fortunate to have been able to tag along, noting that their sister Marie, had she not attended a tea party, would never have permitted him to go. The brothers then discuss how their sister, despite being kind-hearted, tends to be overly protective. As the conversation winds down, Sieg expresses his love for both his sister and his brother Theobald. Theobald, blushing, responds by urging Sieg to hurry up, cautioning that Marie might discover their plans otherwise. Upon arriving at the White Forest, the brothers disembark from the carriage and inform Hans to return at the scheduled time, asking him to keep their trip a secret. Hans, acknowledging their concern, assures them he understands and comments that Theobald is beginning to sound a lot like their father. As Hans departs with the carriage, Theobald advises Sieg to refrain from using his magic in front of Nikolai, suggesting it would be prudent to keep it a secret even from close friends. Theobald extends his hand, asking Sieg to hold it. Although Sieg feels embarrassed, considering himself grown in mind and soul despite his small stature, he takes his brother's hand for Theobald's sake. Theobald smiles, silently vowing to protect Sieg no matter what. Upon reaching the White Forest, Sieg's spirits lift as he excitedly jumps around. He marvels at a flower, captivated by its beauty. Theobald explains that the area is imbued with unique magic power, causing all the flowers to be white in color. Theobald informs Sieg that the White Forest is home to many weak monsters, making it an ideal training ground for novice adventurers. However, he also warns Sieg not to venture too deep into the forest, as it is connected to the Hush Forest, which harbors terrifying monsters. As they continue their conversation, Nikolai arrives and questions Theobald about his plans, and why he is at a place meant for novices. Sieg introduces himself with the manners of a gentleman. Nikolai finds Sieg adorable and pats him on the head, leaving Sieg feeling slightly disoriented. Theobald, feeling protective, steps in and asks Nikolai to be gentle with his younger brother. Nikolai introduces himself as Nikolai von Baden. Sieg finds his brother's friend overly energetic and uses his appraisal eye skill on him. He discovers Nikolai's stats and learns that he is a D-ranked adventurer. Theobald apologizes to Nikolai for the sudden change in plans, explaining that Sieg wants to practice for next year's White Hunt. Sieg takes full responsibility, explaining to Nikolai that he insists on joining Theobald and requests his cooperation, offering all the monster loot in return. Both Nikolai and Theobald are impressed and surprised by Sieg's negotiation skills. Nikolai, remaining cheerful, gladly accepts Sieg's proposal. Nikolai then picks up Sieg, placing him on his shoulders, and excitedly rushes off to find monsters. Theobald expresses concern that Sieg might fall, but Nikolai reassures him, insisting he is being overprotective. As they approach the area where they might find a white rabbit, Sieg asks his brother why he regularly hunts monsters with Nikolai in secret. Nikolai reveals that Theobald is helping him earn money to cover his medical bills. He further explains that his family used to be noble, but due to unfortunate circumstances, they have become impoverished. Since his sister suffers from a serious illness, he needs extra money for her medicine, and Theobald is determined to help him meet these expenses. Theobald simply explains that he is helping Nikolai to improve his swordsman skills. Nikolai, recognizing the generosity of his friend, smiles. Sieg, feeling disheartened, apologizes, saying that if it weren't for him, Nikolai could have hunted monsters elsewhere for more money. Nikolai reassures Sieg, saying that these rabbits can also provide sufficient rewards. Meanwhile, Theobald continues to worry about Sieg, concerned he might fall and get hurt. Nikolai finds a rabbit and gently sets Sieg down, instructing him to get ready. He explains that they will surround the rabbit to prevent its escape, allowing Sieg to approach it more closely. However, Sieg declines, telling Nikolai that he can fight from a distance. Nikolai questions if the distance is manageable, and if Sieg even knows how to use magic. Eager to level up quickly, Sieg wastes no time and casts a fireball in the shape of an arrow, easily killing the rabbit. Out of sheer confusion, Nikolai asks Theobald if fireballs typically look like that. Theobald tries to deflect, saying that the Ahbel family has unique methods of training. As Sieg continues to use his fireballs, Theobald persists in his cover-up, mentioning that he, too, was able to use such fire magic when he was a child. After defeating just one rabbit, Sieg realizes it hasn't raised his level, and asks Theobald if there are more rabbits to hunt. Theobald uses his wind attribute scout magic to locate additional rabbits and detect a unique presence. However, before he can investigate further, Nikolai grabs Sieg and runs off. Sieg manages to hunt more white rabbits and ultimately levels up. Excitedly, he informs his brother of his achievement. Theobald looks puzzled, and Nikolai, thinking Sieg might be referring to growing up, comments that it is a strange way to phrase it. Sieg is momentarily confused, realizing that his knowledge from Earth might be unique to him. As Sieg's level increases, he gains access to a special blessing called Advanced Growth, and notices a slight increase in his stats. Nikolai stores the rabbit Sieg has defeated, and expresses surprise at Sieg's skill and precision. He wonders if everyone in the Ahbel family possesses such abilities. Theobald again deflects, stating that their father is an extraordinary person. Sieg, feeling sweat bead on his forehead, realizes that it won't be long before his brother's excuses run out. He had hoped to achieve at least level 3, but with time running short, it seems inevitable. Just as they are about to part ways, a horde of goblins approaches them. To their surprise, the goblins run past, appearing injured. Aren't goblins in this world rather strange? They have ugly, eyeless faces and large ears, and their heads look like they're covered in banana peels. Theobald is puzzled, as goblins are typically among the most formidable monsters in the White Forest. Their unexpected flight suggests they are fleeing from something even more terrifying. Before they can ponder further, a tree log crashes down, splitting them apart with Theobald on one side and Nikolai and Sieg on the other. To make matters worse, the goblins begin to pursue them. Theobald questions whether the goblins have set up an ambush, but Nikolai dismisses the idea, noting that goblins lack the intelligence for such tactics. So folks, from the teachings that Goblin Slayer gave us, there must be a higher-ranking goblin monster leading this horde. Amid the chaos, a monster emerges from the depths of the Forest of Silence, a goblin general. The sight of this formidable creature sends waves of panic through everyone. Theobald is struck with fear as he realizes the goblin general is a B-rank threat, an enemy that should not have breached the magic barrier into their area. Observing the monster closely, he notes that it appears injured and lacks its armor, suggesting it may have lost a fight in the Forest of Silence. However, this doesn't explain its sudden appearance and rampage. As Theobald is deep in thought, the goblin general lands a punch that he narrowly avoids. He reflects on their misfortune, recognizing that the appearance of such a powerful monster on this day is disastrous. Despite the goblin general's injuries, its berserk state makes it an overwhelming threat, and in its current condition, defeating it seems impossible. Theobald, resolute in his determination to protect his younger brother, gathers his courage. Nikolai struggles to manage the numerous goblins, but Sieg quickly aids him by dispatching many of them with his fireballs. However, the intense use of magic drains Sieg's stamina, revealing that his young body cannot keep up with his magical prowess. With nearly all his mana depleted, a helper warns that a single use of advanced magic could render him unconscious. Theobald makes a desperate attempt to use all his skills to defeat the goblin general. Just as he is about to deploy a decisive tactic, the goblin general unleashes advanced ice magic. Sieg, trying to assist his brother, is nearly overwhelmed by the ice attack, but is narrowly saved by Nikolai, who decides to retreat. Recognizing the danger, Nikolai understands that if Theobald is incapacitated, the monster will likely pursue them next. Sieg uses his appraisal eye on the goblin general and discovers that the monster is vulnerable to fire. However, its helmet, with its magic resistance, poses a significant challenge. Frustrated, Sieg struggles with his thoughts, feeling that if he cannot save his brother, his powers are of no use. Meanwhile, Theobald is knocked out and lying on the ground, but he refuses to give up. He recalls a past failure when he was too weak to stop Jelt despite knowing his intentions. Determined not to repeat that mistake, he pushes through his injuries. Struggling but resolute, he stands up and activates a new skill, Wind Net, to restrain the monster. Well, Theobald just became a Pokémon, able to learn new skills mid-battle. Theobald, shouting urgently, asks Nikolai for help. Nikolai responds by casting a light attribute defensive spell called Light Wall. Despite his efforts, the shield begins to crack under the pressure, barely holding the goblin general at bay. With renewed confidence, Theobald employs a self-taught wind magic skill, Spreading Wind Needle. The attack shatters the monster's armor and leaves multiple slashes on its body. Unfortunately, the goblin general still manages to survive. Observing that the monster's helmet has been destroyed, Sieg instructs Nikolai to throw him toward the monster's head. Before Nikolai can voice his concerns, Sieg explains that the monster's weakness lies in its eyeballs. He insists that if Nikolai can aim for them, they might be able to defeat the monster easily. Nikolai hesitates, as anyone would before throwing a child into the air, but Sieg's desperate pleas to save his family convince him. With a heavy heart, Nikolai throws Sieg toward the monster, saying he believes in him. Sieg channels all his energy into conjuring a flame spear, determined not to waste the opportunity his brother created. The spear strikes the monster's exposed head, severing it and defeating the beast. As Sieg begins to fall to the ground, Theobald swiftly catches him, preventing him from getting hurt. Theobald apologizes to Sieg for not being able to save him, but Sieg reassures his brother, saying that it was Theobald who created the opportunity that saved them all. Sieg expresses his gratitude for Theobald's protection, acknowledging that his brother risked his life for him. The two brothers embrace, sharing their heartfelt emotions. Nikolai quickly uses his light attribute healing magic on Theobald, apologizing for not being able to fully heal him. With everyone feeling relieved, Nikolai takes a moment to question Sieg, wondering how a child as small as him was able to devise such a strategy and discern the monster's fire weakness and vulnerable spots. Theobald, adopting a protective demeanor, firmly tells Nikolai that they cannot share the details of their abilities to keep his brother safe. Nikolai accepts this without further questioning, understanding that everyone has certain things they cannot disclose. To ease Theobald's concerns, Nikolai assures him that he would never reveal this incident, as it could impact his adventurer rank if it became known that a child defeated the monster. In exchange for their secrecy, Nikolai decides to take the magic crystal ash left by the monster. When Sieg inquires about it, Nikolai explains that such crystals are dropped only by higher ranked monsters, have a high market value, and can help him obtain a more skilled doctor for his sister. Sieg gladly agrees to let Nikolai take the magic crystal ash. He feels a tightening in his chest, pondering whether his luck has followed him into this new life. The helper eye appears, and tells Sieg that his fortune is the reason behind his success. Sieg is taken aback, questioning what kind of luck this could be. The helper explains that everything happened because Sieg wished to level up and increase the reward for Nikolai to help his sister. Normally, achieving both goals simultaneously would be impossible, but because Sieg is exceptionally lucky, nothing is beyond his reach. Sieg reflects on the time when Uncle Wilbald had called him the lucky one, and ponders whether this misfortune masquerading as fortune will continue to shadow him. He dismisses these thoughts, understanding that the only way to prevent any more deaths is to become even stronger. Theobald suggests that Sieg should wait and relax for a while until they regain their stamina. Upon returning to the carriage, they plan to ask Hans to keep a new secret. The scene shifts to a carriage navigating through the perilous and eerie silence of the forest. The carriage, belonging to smugglers, chooses this treacherous path to avoid detection, aware that using a more conventional route would lead to their capture. Suddenly, the smugglers face an attack from a goblin general. The smugglers, terrified by the presence of such a formidable creature, one that should reside deeper within the forest, flee in a desperate bid for survival. In the chaos, one smuggler mentions the sacred beast, but another counters that it has already escaped and insists on prioritizing their own survival. Amidst the commotion, the sacred beast is seen, visibly agitated and wounded, lying helplessly on the ground. In the depths of the White Forest, where Sieg has ventured with his family for the white hunt, he skillfully takes down a white rabbit. For his precise shot, he is rewarded with an enthusiastic hug from his sister, Marie. Sieg, struggling to breathe under her tight embrace, asks her to let go. Sieg's uncle, astonished by Sieg's mastery of such delicate control over his magical abilities, comments on how this level of skill should make even minor adventures a trivial challenge. Despite Theobald and his brother's efforts to keep their small adventure a secret, the details have leaked, leading to a proper scolding. Marie scolds Theobald once more for his slip-up, and Theobald apologizes again. Uncle Wilbald expresses hope that the White Forest will present no issues, noting that Sieg's father has already investigated the area, following Theobald's report of the destroyed magic barrier and the unexpected monster carcass. Although Theobald's secret has been revealed, he has managed to keep the presence of the Goblin General confidential. Meanwhile, Marie continues to hug her little brother, framing it as a reward for his hard work, even though Sieg appears quite embarrassed. As he endures the tight embrace, Sieg notices an unfamiliar shadow in the grass and questions whether it is just his imagination. Determined to investigate, he starts to move toward it, but Marie strongly opposes the idea of him venturing out alone. However, their father intervenes, instructing Marie to let Sieg go, assuring her that it is safe for him to explore the White Forest alone, and that they can easily track his location, if necessary. Reluctantly, Marie agrees, but becomes overwhelmed with nostalgia and anxiety at the thought of anything happening to her little brother. As she hurries off to find him, their father expresses his concern about Marie's growing overprotectiveness since the incident with Jelt. He had hoped that witnessing Sieg's strength might ease her worries, but she remains unwilling to let him go alone. Uncle Wilbald argues that only time can heal wounds inflicted upon the heart, and with that, he takes Theobald to investigate the magic barrier where Albert is already on his way. Gilbert stays behind, prepared to handle any potential issues that might arise with Marie and Sieg. Meanwhile, Sieg searches the area for the shadow he notices and soon encounters a white tiger cub. The cub, appearing to be a sacred beast, piques Sieg's interest. With careful observation, Sieg discovers that he understands the cub's language, a result of his language acquisition skill. Sieg discovers the magic beast, severely wounded, and wonders why such an endangered sacred beast is alone in this place. As he approaches, he notices a magical shadow around the beast, and deduces that it must have been captured by smugglers and managed to escape. Deciding to heal the beast's wounds, Sieg moves closer, only to have the cub bite his hand. Despite the pain, Sieg proceeds with his light attribute healing magic. The beast is astonished by the immediate healing and, realizing it has just bitten the one who cured it, reacts with newfound friendliness. The once hostile cub now displays no aggression, and Sieg, finding it cute and fluffy, begins to pat it affectionately. Sieg embraces the little cub, praising it for its bravery in enduring its ordeal. The cub, uplifted by Sieg's kind words, expresses its gratitude, telling him how wonderful he is and how it will always be thankful. Just then, a notification arrives, informing Sieg that he has formed a contract with the White Tiger. Shocked, Sieg is taken aback, not recalling any formal blood contract. He soon realizes that the cub must have been licking the blood from his wound, leading to the contract. Meanwhile, Marie arrives, firmly holding Sieg and scolding him for leaving her alone. As her gaze falls upon the tiger cub, she is rendered speechless, stunned by the sight. Gilbert arrives and questions Sieg about the black cat's baby he appears to have picked up. As Sieg attempts to downplay the cub's true nature as an endangered sacred beast, his father wonders aloud why the so-called black cat's baby is actually white. He then concludes that it must have turned white due to the common belief that consuming items from the White Forest turns things white. As Gilbert ponders the cub's presence in the forest, Sieg remains anxious about concealing the cub's true identity, worried about admitting that he inadvertently formed a contract with a sacred beast's offspring. Sieg then asks his father if he can take care of the cub, but Marie immediately refuses, clearly concerned for her brother's safety. Sieg explains that he found the baby severely injured and believes it might not survive on its own. Marie protests, noting that the magic beast bit him and she has seen his wound. Sieg tries to reassure her, mentioning that he frightened the magic creature. Marie, still hesitant, asks their father to reject Sieg's request. However, Gilbert instructs Sieg to promise that he will take full responsibility for the magical creature for the rest of its life. Determined, Sieg quickly agrees to the terms. Gilbert then permits him to keep the cub, but asks Marie to assist Sieg in caring for it, addressing her concerns. Gilbert also inquires if Sieg was the one who healed the magic beast himself. Upon confirmation, Gilbert is impressed and praises Sieg for his efforts. Marie tells Sieg that while she has no objection to him keeping the cub, as their father has allowed it, she remains concerned and will closely monitor the creature. The scene shifts to the castle, where Sieg sits, patting his tiger cub. Marie continues to watch them closely, ensuring the cub poses no threat to Sieg. The cub lies on the ground, displaying its cuteness and harmlessness, but Marie remains skeptical, warning the cub that such tricks won't deceive her. As Sieg heads towards the castle grounds to resume his advanced magic training, he is followed by Marie, who keeps a vigilant eye on both him and the cub. Sieg expresses his need for some alone time to focus on his training. Curious, the cub asks why Sieg is in such a hurry. Sieg explains that he must become stronger because his so-called good luck seems to attract a lot of dangerous situations. The cub, sensing Sieg's tension, becomes sad and hugs him, believing that a hug will make Sieg feel better. Marie, observing from a distance, recognizes that the cub isn't dangerous. However, due to the incident, her trust has been shaken. She knows that even the most unexpected individuals can cause harm to those one cares about. Determined to stay focused, Marie slaps her face to shake off her doubts and vows to protect Sieg, ensuring nothing happens to him during the night. Meanwhile, the cub, sensing Marie's concern, jumps towards her and gives her a hug as well. As night falls, Sieg sits on his bed, sighing in relief after a challenging day under strict supervision. Sieg attempts to practice advanced magic, hoping that his sister won't appear since it's past bedtime. However, just as he begins, Marie bursts through the door, apologizing for her unexpected entry. Sieg tells her that it's already past bedtime and asks if something is wrong. Marie acknowledges the time and explains that she has decided they should sleep together tonight after a long time apart. She then asks Sieg if that is all right with him, as if poor Sieg has a say in this. Hugging each other tightly, Sieg and Marie then sleep together in bed with their new pet. Sieg panics at this absurd situation. Marie has used his protection as an excuse to glue herself to her baby brother simply because he's taking care of the supposedly dangerous white tiger. Not leaving his side for even a moment, Sieg is unable to practice his advanced magic with Marie hovering over him, though he doesn't find her presence entirely unpleasant. Of course you don't, you little rascal. Recalling Helper's advice that advanced magic skills can only be honed through practice, Sieg tries to use some spatial move magic while still trapped in his sister's tight embrace, making an effort not to wake her. His pet beside him topples, as Sieg successfully vanishes from between Marie's arms and the beast, excited to use this skill to sneak away into the forest for training. Just before he leaves, the white tiger cub advises against it, suggesting that Marie would be heartbroken if he were to disappear so suddenly. Reassuring it, Sieg promises to return before Marie wakes up, emphasizing his desire and need to grow stronger for his family. He vanishes before his pet, who briefly returns to bed before deciding to follow him, pouncing out the window. Sieg teleports to a large, empty space in the forest, feeling fatigued but ready for more magic training. Energized by his recent level up, he successfully conjures an ice cluster, which boosts his enthusiasm for practicing even more advanced magic. After an extensive training session, Sieg decides to use one final thunder magic spell, despite his exhaustion. To his dismay, the thunder magic manifests as an uncontrollable force resembling Gelt, initiating combat with its own creator. Sieg's attempts to direct magic at it prove futile, as the spell flows harmlessly through the lightning. In a panic, Sieg expends all his remaining magic to launch a powerful beam, destroying the illusion of Gelt. As he collapses, Helper informs him that depleting his magic also drains his physical strength. Lying on the ground in the eerily silent forest, Sieg berates himself for still being so weak in the face of Gelt's trauma, despite his promise to become stronger for his family. As thoughts of the magic beast companion who had warned him, along with memories of Marie and his family swirl in his mind, His vision darkens, seeing an image of a familiar face before losing consciousness. The next day, panic ensues at the mansion. Anna and Theobald take immediate action, confirming that Sieg is missing, and not on the mansion's premises, while Marie wallows in sorrow, lamenting that he was in her arms just hours earlier. Imagining the worst possible outcome, Marie is alerted by two maids who report seeing the magical beast's cub the previous night. When asked if Sieg was with the magic beast, the maid witness claims to have seen it alone, attributing the failure to report to the darkness. Putting the pieces together, Marie deduces that the magic beast likely ran after Sieg, and promptly announces her intention to visit the White Forest. As she ventures deeper into the woods, she discovers Sieg being carried by the very magic beast they had suspected to be behind his disappearance. Marie gently lifts Sieg off the cub's back, noticing that he remains unconscious, but still breathing. As the cub licks Sieg with concern, Marie scoops it up into her arms and reassures the brave little beast that she will save her precious brother. Sieg slowly regains consciousness, feeling a comforting sense of security and warmth from Marie's healing magic, which she has been using to tend to the weakened boy resting in her lap. Upon noticing Sieg's arousal, Marie joyfully cries out his name and embraces her puzzled brother. However, their wholesome reunion is abruptly interrupted by an angry Gilbert, who calls out Sieg's name with a chillingly stern expression. Undoubtedly, there would be no wars if all sisters were as loving as Marie. Back at the mansion, Sieg and Marie sit on the bed, facing Gilbert. As Gilbert questions Sieg about how he ended up in the forest, Sieg simply bows and apologizes, struggling to find a way to explain his situation and desire to grow stronger. Seeing his son at a loss for words, Gilbert sits down calmly and informs him that this incident cannot be overlooked, and thus Sieg is grounded for 2 weeks, under surveillance magic of course. Taking a moment, Gilbert acknowledges that his son is intelligent, and typically avoids unnecessary trouble or foolish decisions. With a sincere expression, he reassures Sieg not to worry about the Ahbel family, emphasizing that everyone is strong enough to take care of themselves. Sieg, overcome with emotion as he reflects on the past, explains that he had gone to the forest to train his magic in secrecy because he cannot reveal it. As Sieg tears up, while discussing his mother's death, Marie and Gilbert are surprised to learn that he retains memories of that time. Marie hugs her brother tightly, comforting him and promising that no one in the family will be harmed again, followed by Gilbert, who vows to protect everyone. Lying in bed with his white tiger cub, Sieg laughs at himself, as this is the first time he has cried in front of so many people, wondering if he wished to have people to rely on the whole time. He then gets up to thank the little one who saved his life, now requesting its master to give it a hearty petting as a reward. A request that Sieg happily obliges. As the two play around, Sieg realizes he has yet to name his cute little pet. After pondering over it for a moment, he places his finger on her nose and suggests Haku. Simply hearing the name, Haku's eyes light up with excitement, and the two hug each other in bed, promising to support one another as true partners. The scene shifts to the main building of the Ahbel family, where Gilbert talks to a portrait of Leah in his office, discussing how far Sieg has come and that he has failed to do nearly enough as a father. He wanders deep into thought, thinking of Sieg's potential greatness, when his train of thought is cut short by Albert entering the room. Albert, accompanied by Wilbald, proudly announces that clear white magical ash has been discovered in the White Forests. Gilbert inquires about the results of Albert's research on the White Forests. It is revealed that the magic crystal identified belongs to a goblin general, who ventured into the White Forest far outside its usual territory. Wilbald then poses the pressing question on everyone's mind as to who could have defeated this B-rank monster. Time for a spicy game of Family Feud. Without hesitation, Gilbert surmises that Siegbert is the likely suspect. Albert strongly disagrees, believing it impossible to defeat the monster without advanced magic, and Wilbald concurs with Albert. Gilbert mentioned that even someone as skilled as Theobald was injured during the incident, suggesting that Sieg might have been protected by his brother. Gilbert concludes that if Sieg was responsible, it would be prudent to conceal evidence of his strength. To address his father's worries, Albert explains that there are false rumors about how to detect the precious magic crystal ash, and mentions that Nikolai, the knight present at the scene, has remained stubbornly silent about the details. At the same time, Wilbald adds that his unit in the Magical Brigade has obtained the sample, which is currently under investigation. Gilbert apologizes for himself and on behalf of his little troublemaker, to which Albert responds with a smile, offering to do anything for his cute little brother. On a more serious note, Wilbald mentions that Sieg, possessing advanced magic attributes, is far more talented than Jelt, which luckily has not been revealed to the public yet. He adds that Sieg should keep his magic hidden as much as possible, to avoid provoking the Ministry of Magic. Gilbert sighs as he glances at the portrait of Leah on his desk, holding it while exposing their wish for Sieg to live his life freely, with no forces holding him back. Gilbert then requests that Wilbald refrain from drawing unnecessary attention, prompting Wilbald to joke about Gilbert's double standard. He playfully taunts Gilbert, suggesting that exceptions seem to be made only for Theobald and Siegbert. Gilbert dismisses the remark, pondering whether all Ahbel family men are destined to be troublemakers. Returning to the current situation, they wonder how Sieg managed to reach the White Forest so fast. Gilbert proposes that it could be due to a magic infusion stone, which releases any magic stored within. However, Wilbald rejects this idea, noting that such stones are too costly for a child. Gilbert then suggests re-evaluating Sieg is the best course of action. Albert then switches up the conversation with a little request, wishing to see Sieg's white hunt, which he missed due to work commitments. Gilbert proudly reveals that he had been secretly documenting Sieg's actions throughout the event with the projection stone. Wilbald winces at how his brother makes outrageous expenses like this device for Sieg. The three then enjoy viewing the scenes from Sieg's white hunt. The next day arrives. Wilbald is feigning humility upon hearing Sieg's compliments, while the young lad clearly visualizes the absolute monstrous power of his level 60 uncle. Sieg is astonished by Wilbald's stats all being far above 300, and possessing an array of advanced magical attributes and skills. Although Sieg regrets not being able to openly practice his advanced magic, he is brimming with excitement at having such an awesome uncle train him. Meanwhile, Wilbald is evaluating Sieg's growth, noticing how although his luck remains the same, his magic power is ballooning at an astounding rate, potentially surpassing even Wilbald himself. Uncle doesn't even know that Siegbert can probably solo a dungeon at this point. Coming in fast, Haku approaches with a stick in its mouth. Sieg introduces Haku, who finds Wilbald very handsome. He comments on how unbelievable it is to find a black cat with such pure white fur and appraises Haku. Sieg feels relief as Wilbald is only able to detect Haku's attributes that have not been concealed. However, the clever man notices an unusual magic flow. Wilbald asks for Haku's permission to pet its body a bit, a request it is surprisingly cooperative with. He observes a magical discoloration impeding the flow of magic. This anomaly is traced back to amateur healing magic, used after an injury caused by an unusual spell. As Sieg becomes worried about Haku's condition, Wilbald explains that Haku has been cursed, something Sieg had missed during his severe injury. Sieg regrets his hasty use of healing magic when he first met Haku, but Wilbald consoles him that it is normal for an amateur not to notice such fine details. Wilbald expresses his displeasure, noting that the magic was designed to intentionally inflict suffering. He takes a hair from Haku's body, determined to seek revenge against the rascals responsible for this curse. When Wilbald explains how the curse will progressively render Haku incapable of using magic, Sieg innocently asks his uncle whether he can heal Haku. Wilbald honestly admits that the sacred magic Holy Purge is not his specialty. Sieg wonders what he can do now, even if he eventually learns the sacred magic later. Suddenly, Sieg recalls his father's advice and has an epiphany. He suggests to Wilbald that Haku be taken to Marie, who previously used sacred magic to treat Sieg's injuries. However, Marie expresses her frustration at her limited magic power, which prevents her from using the powerful advanced magic. In a last-ditch effort, Marie brings out a holy purification stone. This holy purification stone, imported from the magic city-state of Lin, was initially meant to treat Leah's illness. Although Marie could only use light magic, she had rushed to learn sacred magic for her mother's condition. But her efforts were bottlenecked by her limited magic power. She reveals that Leah's condition had deteriorated significantly by the time the stone arrived. Yet, Sieg's birth resulted in a miraculous recovery for Leah, albeit not permanent, and the stone has retained the power of holy purification ever since. When Marie offers to cure Haku's curse with it, the little one refuses its own recovery in return for such priceless memorabilia. After hearing Haku's generous wish not to use Marie's precious stone, Marie sits beside Haku and apologizes for her suspicion, thanking the cute beast for taking care of her little brother. She declares that Haku is now part of their family. Hearing this, Haku willingly accepts her offer and allows Marie to use the stone. A holy light beam descends from the sky, enveloping Haku in its radiant glow. Haku jumps in excitement at how amazing her body feels now. Wilbald confirms the curse's removal, while Sieg graciously thanks Marie for her support. Upon Wilbald's request, Haku uses the ice snow magic, causing a gentle snowfall of beautiful, snow-like leaves that resemble the white forest. Haku rolls in excitement in its snow, while Sieg declares it the perfect opportunity to make a snowman. Marie joins in worrying about Sieg getting frostbite, as Wilbald enjoys a heartwarming family scene. At the same time, someone deep in the forest appearing to be a dryad is seen observing Sieg and his family, quite eager to meet him very soon. As the scene fades in, Sieg is training Haku to fine-tune its firepower so it can create a hole in the ice without melting it entirely. Uncle Wilbald, impressed by their progress, commends their improvement. Sieg, pleased with the enhanced coordination, picks up Haku, feeling satisfied with their achievements. Wilbald then informs Sieg that he is leaving to visit his brother Gilbert, and advises him to continue working on magic control during his absence. The scene shifts to Gilbert meeting with Wilbald. Gilbert apologizes for the delay, and inquires about how his son is faring. Wilbald praises Sieg, noting that he is doing an impressive job. He further mentions that despite the lifting of house arrest, he continues to tutor Sieg diligently. Gilbert appears astonished by Sieg's progress, noting that aside from having a keen understanding of magic, Sieg learns exceptionally quickly and puts his knowledge into practice. Wilbald further praises Sieg's creativity, mentioning that his magical imagery was so impressive, it left him in awe. He teases Gilbert, expressing a desire to peek inside Sieg's mind, to see what's going on in there. Gilbert turns sour, sternly warning Wilbald that his son is not a test subject. Wilbald quickly apologizes, explaining that he was only joking. He then continues, sharing that he is currently training Sieg in mana control, and is confident that once Sieg masters this skill, he will be able to interact freely with the outside world. Gilbert expresses his satisfaction upon learning about his child's progress. Wilbald then shares that he is nearing the completion of his research on Haku, revealing that it is a variant of a black cat. He emphasizes that what makes Haku extraordinary is its possession of 2 magical attributes, which is highly unusual for a magical creature. The brothers discuss the implications of Haku's magical collar and the tracking magic cast on it, signs that it was likely poached. They speculate about the current activities of the poachers and consider the possibility that these actions might be connected to the Imperial family, who are rumored to be secretly hunting and poaching rare magic beasts for auction. They agree that it would be wise to provide Haku with an amulet bearing a family crest to ensure its safety and prevent it from becoming a target. As Wilbald ponders what design would suit Haku, Gilbert comments that it seems his brother has grown quite attached to the magical beast. Wilbald acknowledges that Haku is quite friendly and adorable, expressing his happiness at being part of such a caring family. Gilbert then throws a stack of letters onto the table, revealing that they are love letters and an engagement proposal directed at Wilbald. Gilbert scolds his brother for not handling the proposals himself and making him deal with the aftermath. He insists that Wilbald should at least reply to the letters if he wishes to remain single. Wilbald, slightly nervous, finds the situation with the proposals to be quite troublesome. Meanwhile, Sieg struggles with creating stones, which turn out to be of poor quality. He wonders if he could produce glass stones, as they would allow him to use advanced magic more effortlessly. He recalls his sister mentioning that he could imbue magic into glass stones, enabling him to perform advanced magic without depleting his stamina each time. Since then, Sieg has been working on mass-producing high-quality glass stones. To achieve this, he needs to pour a significant amount of magical power into the magic sand. Despite his efforts, he consistently fails. Frustrated, he yells about his repeated failures. Helper arrives and suggests that the issue might be with the quality of the sand Sieg is using. Sieg has been using the sand given to him by his uncle for training to control his magic. The helper explains that while this sand is good for training, it may not be of sufficient quality to withstand the strength Sieg is applying. The helper further elaborates on the different classes of sand and suggests that the sand Sieg is using might be inadequate. Sieg inquires about where he can find sand of S+ quality. The helper informs him that such sand can be found in the deepest recesses of the dangerous silent forest. However, he adds that a more suitable location for obtaining high-quality sand would be the fairy forest. He describes the fairy forest as a place filled with fantastical landscapes, where Sieg might find magical sand blessed by the earth's spirit. As Sieg discusses with the helper how to reach the fairy forest, a sudden gust of wind announces the arrival of the dryad eager to meet him. She wraps her arms around Sieg in a tight hug, forcing him to ask who she is. Haku attempts to scare her away, but is caught off guard when the Dryad reveals she knows it is a holy beast, not just a magical beast. Sieg and Haku plead with her to keep their secret. The Dryad, assuring them that she will not disclose it to anyone, even promises not to tell Uncle Wilbald. Immediately thereafter, the handsome devil arrives and inquires if she is causing trouble for Sieg. It turns out that she is not a mere Dryad, but rather an earth spirit from the fairy forest. Wilbald introduces her as Frau, his companion with whom he has made a contract. He then explains that Frau is friendly towards humans and reassures Sieg not to be afraid, despite the historical conflicts and animosity between humans and fairies. He notes that this fear has somewhat diminished recently. Wilbald expresses surprise that Sieg can see Frau, pointing out that it is unusual for ordinary humans to perceive fairies in their current form. He requests that Sieg keep Frau's presence a secret from everyone. Frau then asks Sieg if this is his first encounter with a fairy. When Sieg nods in affirmation, the fairy blushes, appearing surprisingly pleased. It becomes clear that Frau has developed a fondness for Sieg, for reasons that remain mysterious. Fairy Frau assures Sieg that he can rely on her for protection and promises to keep him safe. She further explains that she has vowed to care for everyone dear to Wilbald. Frau, displaying her considerable skill, not only recognizes the true nature of Haku, but also notices the disparity between Sieg's inner and outer selves. She inquires if Sieg is actually a child. Sieg, feeling uneasy about having his isekai secret nearly exposed, evades the question by claiming he doesn't understand what she's referring to. Wilbald, noticing the tension, tells Frau to ease up, reminding her that while he permitted her to meet Sieg, he did not intend for her to trouble him too much. Frau manages to persuade Wilbald and takes Sieg out to explore the town, as Sieg has rarely had the chance to visit it. She doesn't explain her reasons for the outing to Sieg, merely stating that it is a personal matter. As they stroll through the streets, Frau suddenly stops and informs Sieg that she is in a very good mood. As a gesture of friendship, she offers to give him something he desires. When Sieg seems unsure of what to ask for, the fairy reveals that she can provide him with magic sand from the fairy forest. Sieg is taken aback and asks if she truly has it with her. Frau explains that she didn't bring the sand along, but will take him to the magic core, where he can access as much of it as he needs. The scene shifts to Frau seeking permission from Wilbald, as she explains how Sieg's magic is powerful, and he wants to create powerful glass stones from the magic sand. Wilbald expresses doubt about the ease of obtaining the sand, but agrees to discuss it further. Sieg asks his uncle if he is busy. Wilbald informs him that he is occupied with developing a new type of teleportation stone, and will be unable to leave the mage core for a month. Consequently, he won't be able to teach Sieg magic during this period. Sieg reassures his uncle not to worry. He wonders if the place where Wilbald is working is rich with magical energy that he isn't aware of. Frau, still keen on obtaining the sand for Sieg, asks Wilbald if she can retrieve it herself. Wilbald advises her against going to his workspace, explaining that moving objects around might give the impression that the place is haunted, which could alarm the workers. Sieg listens intently to the discussion and requests permission to visit the magic core himself. He expresses confidence in handling the task and shows curiosity about the magic core. Wilbald, recognizing that Sieg is far from an ordinary child, is convinced and grants him permission. Now with the go-ahead, Sieg leaves the castle, taking a moment to bid farewell to his elder brother and sister before setting out.